Madrid is over and it's time to move over to Rome, and we have a return of a very, very special Italian. It is, of course, the world number one, Jannik Sinner. All of the top players are going to be there, apart from Novak Djokovic, and this is our reaction.
We're back, and so is Jannik Sinner. That is right. The moment all of you Italians have been waiting for, all of you around the world. It's been months, and no one's taken the opportunity, have they, JG? Number one's been there for the taking. Zverev was like, I don't want it. Alcaraz doesn't want it. Draper looks like he might want it, but he's too far away. And Jannik Sinner just steps back onto the court again, still number one, back in Italy, and he looks like he could be number one for quite some time if he has a good Rome and Roland Garros.
Well, especially considering neither Zverev or Alcaraz took the opportunity of Sinner not being on the tour. They never took it. They didn't make any distance on him. If anything, they got worse. And I'm hoping that with Sinner back, we are going to see the best of Alcaraz, Zverev, and some of the other players. But we've got to start by giving a shout out to Jack Draper and Casper Ruud, of course, both getting to the final. Casper Ruud winning that final against Draper. I didn't expect it to happen like that, but Ruud was very experienced, and I think being on the tour for a bit longer helped him get over the line against Draper. Draper played well all week, and he has been fantastic this year. And I was a little bit disappointed he wasn't able to do the business against Ruud, because I feel he's got a bigger power differential. However, Ruud was very consistent, using his experience in big moments. And in this kind of form, I think he's got a really good chance for Rome. And of course, Roland Garros, because I think with Rome, everything now is sort of eyes on. Everyone's watching Rome, but they've got one eye on what's going to be happening in Paris for Roland Garros. And this is the best event, I think, before Roland Garros, to see who's going into that one as the real challenger.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I'm excited because this one, last year, Zverev won the title, and he's not been in good form at all. So are we even expecting Zverev to do anything at this event this year? Now there's no expectation on Sasha Zverev whatsoever, which is it's crazy. Like, you wouldn't have said that coming in normally. No. But now I'm not even looking at him and thinking, oh, look, Sasha Zverev, I think that he's got a really good chance of winning this, because I'm looking to the likes of the other players who have stepped up. Jack Draper, like you said, Casper Ruud, the way he played in that whole entire tournament in Madrid. And Madrid's not the type of clay that he's normally that good on. He's normally good on the slower clay, but he's proved that his serve, we know how consistent his serve is, Casper Ruud, one of the best servers on tour for consistency. But his forehand speed, it was right up there with some of the very big hitters as well. So well done to him. And now he's a real threat on both types of clay. Don't know if there'll ever be a threat on the grass, because he, famously hates the grass courts. But that's the one thing Draper has over him. He's like a multi-surface player, and he is good on all of them. So I'm very, very excited to see how Draper does on the slower clay. But I'm most excited to see how Jannik Sinner does after so many months off. He's not played a competitive match for 3 months now. Yes, when he left, he was a dominant force on the tour. But I think the game has moved on a little bit. It moves on very quickly these days. And we've seen who's come to the forefront since he's been away. Holger Rune's looked great since Jannik Sinner's been off as well.
Musetti.
Musetti as well. Alcaraz has had a bit of an injury, and he's coming back for this tournament because he's okay again. But Jannik Sinner, he needs to hit the ground running, or we could see an early exit here in Rome.
Yeah, I'm looking at the draw. The live rankings. Sinner obviously didn't play Rome last year. Neither did Alcaraz. You've got Casper Ruud, who's up to 7 in the world at the moment. He must have gone out in the opening round last year, because he's not defending any points. Well, just the minimal points from the first round. So Ruud has a great opportunity here to overtake Djokovic in the rankings. And Sinner and Alcaraz have a fantastic opportunity to cement themselves right at the top, not defending hardly any points. When you look a little bit down, you've then got the Czechs. So Thomas Mahac, Mensik, not really defending any points here. They can be very dangerous, and they can make a case, I believe, if they go very deep, to get inside sort of the top 20, closer to the top 10 mark. And Cerundolo is another one who's not defending many points. So the way he's been playing on this type of clay, I think he could do very well. And without looking at the draw, he is kind of my outside pick to do very well.
I think it's a really good one as well. Someone I didn't mention, Francisco Cerundolo. He's having a storming year, been making quarterfinal after quarterfinal in every single event, it seems, that he enters. I'm excited to see. Well, he's going to be one of those players that you want to avoid in all of these big tournaments, especially Roland Garros. You will definitely not want Cerundolo in your section. Look where Tsitsipas is now as well. He's right next to him in 19. Players to avoid in Roland Garros are going to be aplenty, it looks like. Arthur Fee's another one of them. And, well, Jakub Mensik as well. The names are just coming up and up, aren't they? All these smaller names are now mixing in with some of the old big names that we used to have, the mainstayers. And obviously, we've got the big boys as well. Taylor Fritz, his number 4 ranking could be up for grabs for Jack Draper at this tournament to go into Roland Garros.
Yeah.
So imagine that. If Jack Draper has a better result, and I mean goes deep in this one, right, and Fritz doesn't, Jack Draper will be a top 4 seed for Roland Garros.
Which is important. It does have an impact for sure, and will help him out quite a bit. As much as we're talking about how it's been different since Sinner left the tour during his suspension, he may just come back and be just far superior than everyone else. So it's not like the tour's changed that drastically. I think a lot of players have been highlighted because Sinner's not here.
Yeah.
But it could easily be the case of Sinner comes back to this Rome event, doesn't drop a set, wins every match, and then we start saying again, oh, okay, well, no one's close to Jannik Sinner. Let's see, because it may have had an impact on him not playing tennis for this amount of time. He's been so good, but a lot of that has been down to the fact that he's been playing every single event and being consistent. When you have some time away from the sport, sometimes it is difficult to get back up to the pace set. And I think a matchup which I really want to see in 2025 is a Jack Draper Jannik Sinner. I think that has all the makings of a classic, and one which, aside from an Alcaraz involvement, is probably the most exciting.
Yeah, I think you put all those names together right now on the clay. Not so sure if Draper mixes it with those 2 players, but if you throw them all on the grass together, that's when it gets interesting. I think Sinner, Draper, Alcaraz on the grass, hard to pick really between them. I mean, Alcaraz obviously Wimbledon champion multiple times, but Jack Draper looks like he could be a future Wimbledon champion, and so does Jannik Sinner as well. So we'll come to the grass in a month's time or so. But now it's Rome. Let's start the draw. I haven't seen it yet. This is the first time I've seen it. I've been avoiding looking or turning all my notifications off on my phone, just ready for this. So let's see. We're going to start with Jannik Sinner. He's the number 1 seed, and we'll go through who the seeds are in his section first.
Yeah, so we've not got the best graphic here. I do have a better one if you want. I can send it over maybe in a second.
This is the quarters, so I don't know if this is...
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Just going to go down the quarter.
Right, so in terms of seedings, Fekina, Cerundolo there with Jannik Sinner. I've mentioned him at the start. Not good to be playing a Francisco Cerundolo, and he could face him relatively early on. So that is a worry. Moving down, Jarry's not quite the player he was a few years ago.
Made the final last year.
Shelton's up and down. I still don't think he's a clay court. He had that good event.
Yeah.
But all in all, keep going. Berrettini, Fernley, not bad. And Casper Ruud. There we go. That's the big one. So Casper Ruud, Jannik Sinner, Cerundolo in the same quarter. Berrettini too. I think them 4, arguably the best 4. Do you think that Sinner's got enough? I mean, the Sinner before the suspension, I don't think it matters who's in his draw.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said before with Djokovic and Nadal over the years, it doesn't matter what the draw is for some of them players, because if they're on, they beat anyone.
Yep.
I think it's the same for Sinner.
Well, he's only ever made it to the quarterfinal at best at the Italian Open in Rome. Last time he played was 2023. He only made the 4th round. Didn't play it last year, obviously. He is a different player since when he last played it, though. We know that for a fact. But this section's not good. This quarter is not good for Jannik Sinner. And Casper Ruud being in the same quarter as Jannik Sinner. And he's on a high right now, Casper Ruud. He's playing, I think, the best tennis I think I ever saw him play in that Madrid tournament. Very aggressive, very carefree, didn't lock up on big moments, just went full out aggression. And it's like a new style of Casper Ruud, fast around the court as well, very good with his touch and drop shots. And Berrettini being in the section is terrible for you. I think Davidovich Fokina being in your section is really bad as well, because he's been playing well recently. And like you say, Cerundolo, Navone is no given as well. China's played well, but I think Navone is probably a better player than China. So this whole entire section is, and we got last year's runner-up, Jarry. Obviously, he's not been in as good a form, but still, if you're good, it's like horses for courses, isn't it? Sometimes Jarry might just turn back up again and play better because he's in Rome.
Yeah, tough quarter, definitely. But it's all on Jannik Sinner's racket. If he plays his tennis, he beats anyone.
Yeah, so next in his half of the draw, this will be Taylor Fritz. So he'll probably be happy that he's got Fritz on his half and not Alcaraz. Sorry, let me just double check with... Yeah, not Alcaraz, because Zverev's number 2 seed. Just double checking the seeding. Yep. So, yeah, you'd be very happy that Alcaraz is on the other side of the draw. I'm sure about that. So, Taylor Fritz, let's see who he has in his section. Mensik, Hurkacz, Rublev and Paul, Mahach, Felix, Alex de Minaur. Not too bad on first
It's not
look.
too bad, but there's some good unseeded players. Luca Nardi, obviously, Lerner Tien and Fonseca, always in the same quarter, whatever happens. Marazan, someone who I bigged up so much in the last event.
Let's speak about that quickly.
Well, what will happen now, Ben, is he will do very well this event, because...
So you're going to put him far in this one?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm going to put Marazan far in this one, because he's a very inconsistent player, and he let me down on the last event, losing in the opening round. I think it was it Nardi he lost to?
Possibly.
No, Arnaldi.
Arnaldi, I think it was, possibly.
So he's probably going to turn up this one.
We'll see. Like you said, very hot and cold player, so never know what you're going to get. I think he'll prefer this style of, even though I think he did well at Madrid before, I think he will still like the clay in Rome. I'm not so sure if he will be doing that great. Who is he actually playing in the first round? Is it Fonseca? Let me just double check.
Who?
Malazan. Yeah, Fonseca first.
Okay, great.
So there you go. Well, Fonseca went out in the first round of Estoril and got knocked out by Jesper de Jong in straight sets. So it just goes to show he's not quite the finished product yet. I think we knew that, but dropping down to a lesser event, he still got taken out by somebody who is a really decent clay court player in de Jong. So we obviously spoken to de Jong before and seen him play well at some Grand Slam events as well. I think he had a great match against Alcaraz not too long ago. So, yeah, good for Fritz, I think. He can't be too mad at this. I think Jakub Mensik, I said last tournament, he'd have a pretty good tournament. It wasn't as good as I thought, but he still...
We both had him going far.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I think we both had him in like the semis or something, but I think he could go again and have a good tournament. He's not defending many points, like we said. So Mensik, I think he's going to keep flying up them rankings.
Yep, definitely. Let's move all the way to the bottom first and see Zverev. So we'll go all the way down and then we'll go who Alcaraz's quarter after that. So Zverev, this is who he has in his quarter: Shapo, Tsitsipas, Arthur Fils, Medvedev, the 2023 champion, Poprin, Nakashima, and Musetti. Look at that. Save the best
It's a
till last.
Pasta Massetti again.
Well, they're not
Do you not
quite.
think we always have? Yeah, but we always have the same players in the same sections.
Yeah.
It just seems always going to happen. It's like if Djokovic was going to be playing, I just knew he would be in the section of Alcaraz.
It's a little bit like
It's always like that. We always get the same matchups in tennis. Is it a coincidence, or does it just happen because they make sure it happens?
Well, my analogy for it is this a little bit like when you get a deck of cards and you finished one of the card games, when they just collect the cards up and then you just start dealing them
Yeah.
before shuffling them again, and then you just end up with all of the players back in the same places again with the same hand. But shuffle the deck a little bit. Come on, the next one, at least do it for Roland Garros, because it doesn't seem that it's happened for this one. Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Ever since we were doing the podcast, though, I've noticed that draws, we always have the same players in the same sections of the same. It just there's a theme and there's like a magnet between certain players where they just appear together.
Like four tournaments running, they'll play each other or something. You'll see their head-to-heads suddenly go up by like 4 matches within the space of a couple of months.
But that's just probably the way it goes sometimes. I don't think Tsitsipas will be very pleased because Musetti, for me, is a far superior player. If they are to play again, I see him winning that one. Zverev, I don't have anything left to say about him because I've had many podcasts where I've said he's the best player to never win a Grand Slam. I still think that. I think he's a fantastic clay court player. He's played probably the best at Roland Garros over the last 3-4 years. Aside from the Dow, maybe on the 3 or 4 years ago.
Wow.
But regardless of that, I just feel he's just a bit irrelevant because you just don't know. You don't fancy him. You never actually believe in him. He doesn't believe in himself, so it's difficult to get behind. On that basis, my eyes are drawn towards the Italian Lorenzo Musetti. I think he's the best player in this section, and he's the one who I would be fancying to advance.
Would this be a fair analogy that Zverev is the Arsenal of the tennis world?
Well, Arsenal's a bit like a great series you love on Netflix because you're always waiting for the next season. That's what they're always doing. They can never win anything. That's from Patrice Evra. That's what he used to say.
No. But I like it.
But I can see what you mean. When the going gets tough, when there's something to be won, they go hiding, and Zverev has been doing that for sure. Still a fantastic player, so who knows what can happen. But I'm going to stick with Musetti.
Some great unseeded players in this one as well that we didn't speak about. Obviously, Lehechka, Kecmanovic, Griekspoor, all in that small section there. Chris O'Connell sometimes can mix it with the big boys. Poprin, he's a seed though. We've got Jordan Thompson and Hamad Medjedovic in there as well. I'm not sure how Umpechi Pericard's serve will translate onto the slow clay, but we'll wait and see on that. Let's have a look at Alcaraz's quarter next.
Musetti, though, for the record, this is his surface.
Yes.
He is a clay quarter.
Well, Rome's where he broke onto the scene. Remember?
We always knew he was a clay quarter, but I think it's becoming more apparent every year we see him. He is a clay court specialist. I don't think he can translate that on any other surface.
Yeah. Do you remember that was when obviously Alcaraz was coming on the scene, Musetti was coming onto the scene at a similar sort of time back
Musetti
in
was before him.
It was 2020. Do you remember Rome 2020? He bageled Stan Wawrinka and then beat him in straight sets. That was when we just thought, whoa, who's this kid coming? Obviously, we knew him from the Challenger Tour already. We knew he was coming through, but I never expected him to do that to Stan on a clay court. Insane. But you see where he is now. Have you seen his new outfit that he's wearing? I absolutely love the new Musetti. We haven't had a chance to speak about it, but it's quite cool. It's like a sleeveless, like baggy affair that he's wearing, this baggy top, and with the new short hair, it's a bit of a vibe.
I feel like Italians, they love their fashion, you know. So
That's
Doesn't
probably right.
surprise me.
Right, let's go on to Alcaraz's section. Obviously, we don't know how hard he's going to be pushing himself in this tournament. He'll want to win it, I'm sure, but he's not going to do anything that's going to deny him playing Roland Garros. So I wouldn't be surprised if he feels a tweak, we see him withdraw at some point during this tournament. So I'm not going to go too big
He must
on
be fit enough to play, though.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have entered.
Exactly right. Yeah. So, but I'm a bit concerned with him because still the injuries keep cropping up for Alcaraz. Too many for such a young man. Let's have a look at the seeds. Mickelson, somebody who's just literally won his first clay court event just yesterday. I believe that was in Estoril, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we got Khachanov, Dimitrov and Rune, Umber and Sebastian Baeth, and Jack Draper. There he is, the boy. Come on, Jack, in the Alcaraz quarter.
I think he'll be really pleased, Draper. It's a good time to play Alcaraz if he gets that matchup. Looking at some of the other players, I think they're winnable. The form he's been in, if his body's okay and mentally he's not too tired from all of the stuff he's done in Madrid, then he's got to be the favourite. I think he's the favourite for the quarter. I wouldn't be surprised if the bookmakers have him as well. Probably not. They'll probably still have Alcaraz just edging it, but I personally would put more money on Draper than Alcaraz.
Draper, won their last meeting. That was the semi-final of Indian Wells. Before that, they played Australian Open. That was when Draper retired. Yeah, but he's still beaten Alcaraz twice, beating him on the grass, beating him on the hard. Maybe it's time to beat him on the clay. Now he's remember you said not too long ago, I think it was just before we started Madrid, and you said the Brits are no good on the clay. And then Draper just was like, what was that? I'm just going to get to the final of Madrid just to prove you wrong. He couldn't win it, though. So maybe we're saving that for Rome. Maybe Draper's just going to come through. Maybe Roland Garros. I'll take Roland Garros. If Draper wants to win that as his first one, I'll happily have Roland Garros.
What about Raducanu? How's she been getting on the clay? Has she been playing much?
I don't know. We're not here to talk about the women's right now.
Oh,
let's
why
save that
not?
for the women's draw reaction. That one's coming up very soon anyway. Let's stick to the men's on this one. But yeah, unseeded players to have a look at in this section. Darderi did pretty well recently. I think he won an event. Bonzi, Mutet,
Not many. Not
the greatest. Oh, Lorenzo Sonego, someone I always like to highlight in Rome. Normally, sometimes has a stormer in this tournament. So keep your eye out for him because the crowd help him to raise his level when he plays in Rome. And he's playing a qualifier first match. So
to be fair, that's the same for a lot of the Italians. There's a lot of Italians in this draw who we've skimmed past. We may see some of them have better events than usual because the atmosphere in Rome's great. They're playing at home, and I think there's an extra incentive to do well. So wouldn't surprise me if we see some of the Italians going really far. I think it's safe to say that we'll have at least one Italian in the semi-final. There's so many of them. It could be anyone.
Let's have a look at Jannik Sinner's potential route to the final. Take us through this. There you go.
So we've got Bai. We then got Navoni Orchina. We've got Davidovich Fokina Bergs. Round 4, Surrendalo TFO. Quarterfinal of Rude or Shelton. Semi-final, Fritz Dimonor, Paul Rublev. And a final of Zverev, Alcaraz, Draper, Massetti. Would be great, by the way, if we got a Sinner-Massetti final.
Yeah. I'd love
because
that.
on the clay, I think that's a more level matchup. Obviously, anything else, I think Sinner demolishes him. However, if Sinner's gone through and beat everyone and gets to that final, I don't think anyone beats him. So it means he's playing well.
Definitely, it's going to be scary for the rest of the tour if he's as good. I'm going to repeat what I said in a previous podcast. It could just mean that if he had any injuries, that they will all be gone now. And now he's just the height of health on a tennis court, so he may be even better than he was.
He's refreshed. He's certainly refreshed.
Hungry as well, probably, to get back on a tennis court. The only thing he's going to be lacking is serious match play, and that's the one thing everybody else has over him. They've been playing competitively for the last 3 months. He has not, but I'm sure he has people to sort of put him through the ringer. in training, but it's never going to be the same when there's no crowd there and you don't have the same pressure. Plus, all of this stuff with the suspension, it sort of divides the crowds a little bit. We don't know what reception he's going to get when he comes back onto the court as well. Obviously, in Italy, you'd think they'd be cheering him on, but there's not all going to be just Italians in the crowd. And I'm sure, like we've seen with some other players, you get some people shouting some things out, disrupting matches. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited for it. And these could be the potential quarterfinals in Rome. If they stick to the seeds, it'll be Sinner, Ruud, Fritz, de Minaur, Draper, Alcaraz, and Musetti versus Zverev. Who do you reckon's for semi-finals out of first off the top of your head? Who would you think that we would have?
I don't know. It's just, I feel looking at it though, the first set, so Sinner, Ruud, that quarter is the hardest quarter on paper. Yep. Then beyond that, that half is maybe not so bad because you've got Fritz, de Minaur. I don't think either of them will make it. Maybe de Minaur. And then the bottom, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them players there, but Alcaraz, still not sure fitness-wise. I have a feeling Musetti's making the final, mate, in Italy. I just have an idea looking at all of this. I think he'll fancy his chances against Zverev or anyone else in that thing. Obviously, he'll be an underdog against Draper or an Alcaraz, but I have a feeling he could make it, and he's a good surprise pick, Musetti.
So not Fritz, probably Marazan there for you, I would guess, and
or Fonseca, you know.
Oh, Fonseca, okay, no problem.
The good thing is I've got them two playing, isn't it? Probably in the second round. So whoever wins that probably wins Rome. You've heard it here first.
That's it. Yeah, let us know your thoughts on that in the comments section. But I think that's it for this draw reaction. It's been an exciting return to the tour now for Jannik Sinner. How far will he go in Rome? Tell us in the comments section below. Do you think he's going to win it? Or do you think he goes out early?
We'll be doing our draw preview shortly, so join us for that. And if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you very soon. Grab yourself a nice pizza and enjoy it, because we're in Italy, in Rome, and it never disappoints. It's one of my favourite events, so it should be a good one.
Mamma mia. See ya.